What if I told you that the WNBA is actively sabotaging the very player who saved their league? What if the greatest rookie phenomenon in basketball history is being systematically torn down by the people who should be protecting her? This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about jealousy, politics, and a league that might be too broken to recognize its own salvation. Today, we're diving deep into the most explosive story the WNBA doesn't want you to talk about. The Caitlin Clark situation has reached a breaking point, and after watching what's been happening to this generational talent, I can't stay silent anymore. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. And drop a comment below telling me what you think is really happening behind the scenes in Indiana. Let's rewind to where this all began. When Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA draft, she wasn't just another rookie. She was the rookie. The player who single-handedly made women's college basketball appointment television. The phenomenon who filled arenas, broke viewership records, and brought millions of new fans to the sport. The Indiana Fever won the lottery when they got the first pick. This was supposed to be their resurrection story. A franchise that had been irrelevant for years suddenly had the golden ticket. Caitlin Clark was going to be their LeBron James, their Steph Curry, their franchise savior. But here's what nobody talks about in those glossy promotional packages. From day one, there were people within that organization who resented her arrival. Veterans who felt displaced. Coaches who felt threatened by a rookie who knew more about basketball than they did. Front office executives who were nervous about building around someone they couldn't control. The warning signs were there from the beginning, but everyone was too caught up in the hype to notice. The awkward body language during introductions, the forced smiles in team photos, the subtle comments about earning your place and paying your dues. This wasn't a welcoming committee rolling out the red carpet. This was a resistance movement disguised as team building. Now let's talk about what's really been happening to Caitlin Clark, because the mainstream media won't tell you this story. They're too busy protecting the league's image to report the truth. First, let's address the elephant in the room that your comments have been screaming about, the referees. You're absolutely right to be furious. What Caitlin Clark has endured on the court isn't just bad officiating, it's targeted harassment with whistles. Hard screens that would get flagged for any other star player? Nothing. Defenders grabbing and holding her off ball? Silence. Flagrant fouls disguised as playoff basketball? The refs suddenly go blind. But the moment Clark shows even a hint of frustration, the technical fouls start flying. This isn't incompetence. This is intentional. When you have officials who are clearly applying different standards to different players, that's not human error. That's institutional bias, and it's destroying the integrity of the game. But the officials are just the tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about Christie Sides and the coaching staff, because what's happening there is even more infuriating. You want to know why Caitlin Clark looks frustrated? Try being the most talented player on the court and watching your coach consistently make decisions that handcuffed your impact. Pulling her during crucial moments, running plays that don't maximize her skills, putting her in lineups that make no strategic sense. And here's the part that should make every basketball fan sick. Some of these decisions aren't basketball mistakes, they're power plays. There are coaches and veteran players who would rather lose games than admit that a rookie is their best option. They'd rather protect their own egos than build around generational talent. Behind closed doors, the situation is even worse. Sources close to the team have painted a picture of a fractured locker room where veterans are actively undermining Clark's leadership, not through open confrontation, but through subtle sabotage. Imagine being 22 years old, carrying the weight of an entire franchise and league on your shoulders, and walking into a locker room where half the people are hoping you fail, where your mistakes are celebrated and your successes are dismissed, where every word you say is analyzed and twisted. This isn't just about basketball chemistry. This is psychological warfare against someone who should be the face of the franchise. Here's what the WNBA doesn't want you to understand. Caitlin Clark's success threatens the existing power structure. For years, the league has operated under certain assumptions about who gets to be the star, who gets the calls, who gets the respect. The WNBA has always been a league that respects its veterans. But what that really means is protecting older players who feel entitled to success they never earned. These players see Clark's immediate impact and they're terrified that a rookie is exposing how mediocre they really are. Look at these numbers. Caitlin Clark is outproducing players who have been in the league for a decade. She's bringing more fans, more revenue, and more attention than anyone has in years. But instead of celebrating that, the league is allowing jealous veterans to tear her down. The sports media has become complicit in this destruction. They've shifted from celebrating Clark's achievements to manufacturing controversies. Every normal rookie struggle gets blown up into a character assassination. Every moment of frustration is painted as arrogance. This isn't journalism. This is a coordinated effort to humble someone who dared to be great immediately. They want to break her spirit, make her conform, turn her into just another player instead of the transcendent talent she is. Other teams have figured out that they can get away with targeting Clark physically. Hard fouls that would get players ejected in the NBA are just welcome to the pros moments in the WNBA. Players are literally trying to injure her, and the league is sitting back and allowing it to happen. This isn't competitive basketball. This is assault disguised as defense. And every time it happens without consequences, it sends a message that the league cares more about protecting fragile egos than protecting its biggest star. Let's talk about what this systematic destruction is costing everyone involved, because the damage goes far beyond one player. You can see it in her eyes. The joy that made her special in college is being slowly drained away. The spontaneous celebrations, the infectious energy, the pure love of the game, it's all being replaced by guardedness and frustration. This is what happens when you take someone who lives and breathes basketball and force them to navigate a minefield of politics every single day. When every move is scrutinized, every emotion is weaponized, and every success is diminished. The saddest part? Clark is still producing at an elite level despite all this chaos. Imagine what she could do if the league actually supported her instead of trying to tear her down. The Indiana Fever had a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and they're blowing it. Instead of building a culture that maximizes Clark's talents, they've created an environment of tension and dysfunction. Look at this body language. Look at these disconnected plays. This isn't a team that's fighting together. This is a group of individuals who don't trust each other. And when your franchise player can't trust her own teammates and coaches, you've already lost. The front office has failed to protect their investment. They've allowed veteran players to create drama instead of establishing clear hierarchy. They've hired coaches who aren't qualified to develop generational talent. They've created a toxic culture that's driving away the very person who was supposed to save their franchise. Here's the most infuriating part. The WNBA is destroying its own renaissance. Caitlin Clark brought millions of new fans to women's basketball, viewership numbers that the league hadn't seen in decades, merchandise sales through the roof, arena attendance that actually mattered. And how does the league respond to this gift? By allowing their star to be bullied, targeted, and undermined. They're killing the golden goose because they can't handle the fact that change threatens the old guard. This isn't just bad business. This is organizational suicide. The WNBA spent 25 years begging for mainstream attention, and when they finally get it, they're sabotaging the person who brought it to them. We're witnessing something unprecedented in professional sports, a league actively working against its own best interests, and Caitlin Clark is reaching her breaking point. Watch her post-game interviews lately, the guarded responses, the diplomatic non-answers, the way she stopped expressing genuine emotion. This isn't media training. This is someone who's learned that anything she says will be twisted against her. Look at her on-court demeanor. The celebrations are more subdued. The interactions with teammates are more careful. The fire is still there, but it's being contained, controlled, diminished by people who can't handle her authenticity. What's happening to Caitlin Clark is setting a terrifying precedent for future stars. The message being sent is clear. If you're too good too fast, if you bring too much attention, if you threaten the established order, the league will find ways to cut you down. This isn't just about one player. This is about the future of women's basketball. If the WNBA can't protect and nurture generational talent, what hope do they have of ever reaching their potential as a league? Here's what needs to happen, and why it probably won't. The Fever need to make a choice: build around Caitlin Clark or lose her. That means firing coaches who don't know how to maximize her talents, trading veteran players who create locker room toxicity, establishing a culture where excellence is rewarded, not resented. The WNBA needs to admit they have a problem. Referee training that focuses on consistent standards for all players. Media guidelines that prevent coordinated character assassination campaigns. Player conduct policies that actually protect stars from targeted harassment. Most importantly, the league needs to embrace what Caitlin Clark represents: the future. Stop protecting the past and start investing in tomorrow. Stop appeasing jealous veterans and start building around transcendent talent. Let me be crystal clear about what's at stake here, because this goes far beyond one player or one team. Every day this situation continues, we're watching one of the most special talents in basketball history get her spirit slowly crushed. This is someone who could have transformed women's basketball into a mainstream spectacle. Instead, she's being forced to fight for basic respect in a league that should be celebrating her. The league is facing a critical moment. They can either protect and promote their biggest star, or they can watch her legacy be tarnished by their own disgumption. But here's the thing they don't understand. If Caitlin Clark fails, it won't be seen as her failure. It'll be seen as the WNBA's failure to support greatness. You deserve better. You deserve to watch basketball at its highest level, not this political soap opera disguised as professional sports. You deserve to see generational talent flourish, not be slowly destroyed by institutional jealousy. So here we are. The most important player in WNBA history is being systematically undermined by the very people who should be protecting her. The most talented rookie the league has ever seen is being forced to navigate a minefield of politics and resentment. The choice is simple. The WNBA can wake up and realize what they have, or they can continue down this path of self-destruction. They can protect Caitlin Clark and build the future around her, or they can watch her become another cautionary tale about wasted potential. But here's what I know about Caitlin Clark: she's not going down without a fight. She's built for this pressure. Every cheap shot, every biased call, every attempt to diminish her is just fuel for the fire. And when she finally explodes, and she will explode, it's going to be spectacular. The question isn't whether Caitlin Clark will survive this. The question is whether the WNBA will survive what they've done to her. What do you think? Am I right about what's happening to Caitlin Clark, or am I missing something? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're as frustrated as I am about how the league is handling this situation, smash that like button and share this video. The WNBA needs to hear from fans who won't stand for this treatment of their biggest star. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and hit that notification bell so you never miss when we expose what's really happening in sports. Until next time, keep fighting for what's right.